We are live. Welcome to the Lynn Sheryl Show. I'm Lynn Serrano.
Sheryl Isenhour.
We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, Sheryl. How are you?
Uh, it's Wednesday.
It's whatever Wednesday, and we are here.
And whatever is a good word for Wednesday.
Yeah,
Anyway.
absolutely. So our topic today is going to be, what are you willing to give up? And today, I don't think we're willing to give up our giggles. We're just laughing for no reason. And I think that's a good enough reason, right?
It's got to be. That's about the only one I got. It's been, I got up this morning to one sitting in an airport and afraid he wasn't going to get out, to a lot of other things. So and now I've got a printer that if you hear something crash, that's because I kicked it off the table.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a pretty good day.
Yeah. Sheryl and I were talking a little bit about Mercury retrograde, if you guys are familiar with it or not. And I don't know. It's just an interesting coincidence or interesting information that seems to work well with understanding different periods of the year where things are wonky, computer stuff or this or that. So it's just it's a cool little phenomenon that happens. So
it's the same reason that tides happen. It's the same reason a lot of other things. People don't realize how much is involved with the moon and things like that. And do I believe? Yes, I was brought up to believe. I had a grandmother that would have killed me if I had not have been. And so I've done. I told you I live by the almanac, and a lot of people don't even know what the almanac is anymore.
Well, I think some people, all they know about the almanac is when the news would say, the almanac says today, 10 years ago, blah, 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 or, that kind of thing. So, it's whatever you grow up with, right? And whatever you learn. So,
and it's interesting once you get into it, really is to see what goes on a lot of things you have no control over. There are a lot of things you have no control over.
Yeah, just like this morning. I mean, poor Jerry, he's in the airport like with many of my other friends. Hi, Dennis. That they said they had to restart the system or something. And so, that was
one airport goes down, much less the whole thing.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, I think it reminds you of things we take for granted. We think that we're going to get from point A to B at a certain time. Well, maybe that's not the case. For whatever reason. Yeah, so you just never know. And so our topic today, as far as what are you willing to give up, one thing that comes to mind right away, when are you going to willing to give up that you have to be flexible? There's so many things out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's we're at the mercy of many things that we take for granted, I believe.
Yeah, and the thing is, to get what you want in life, you can work for it all you want to, but what are you going to give up to get there? Mm-hmm. Using weight, just because that comes up first to most people. What foods are you willing to give up to get there? Exercise. What time are you looking to give up that you can do this? So usually, to get what you want in life, if you think about it, there's something you've got to give up to get there.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't. It's kind of like they get up and their day's like boom, 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 boom. Good friggin' luck is the thing I've got to say to it.
Well, what about the fact that why don't you look at two sides of when you're giving up something? What's the benefits? What's the pros and cons of it all?
I have a lot of my clients, I literally have to sit them down with a paper and a pen and tell them, draw a line down the middle of the page, put all the pros, put all the cons, and weigh your decision.
I think you do yourself a disservice when all you could think of is the first 10 natural things is to be the negative. But what about all the benefits? Don't exclude one or the other. I mean, look at
even weight. Okay.
Yeah.
if you really like ice cream, don't put it on your list to give up, because number one, you'll fail, because you'll just fail. And then it's a failure, and then you backgrade, and then it's, you're in that same circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So take it and deal with it. And like you say, do pros and cons on everything. You have to. What do I do? What is this going to cause? What is giving up this going to cause? Because if the cause is worse than the effect, may not be a good thing.
Right. And I think that's what people always forget. There's two sides of every coin. I mean, or anything. I mean, you can't have good without bad, and vice versa. And so when we just, I love when we talk about these topics, because all it is about stirring up your thoughts and how you process things and how you believe. And nobody, I mean, this sounds negative. I mean, what are you willing to give up? I mean, that sounds so darn negative. You're like, I don't want to give up nothing. Well,
So what are you ready to get?
Right. What are you ready to gain? And that's what people don't see is, they may see this as very negative, but they don't understand that this negative can bring a positive and vice versa. So, oh, hey, where are you? He's in Denver. He's in my time. It's 10 o'clock. Welcome to Mountain Time, Jerry. I'm glad you got there, as he tries to get home. And Sheryl was explaining to me some of your follies trying to get to and from. And God bless you, because you're a diehard. You're the things you do to get for your clients. It's amazing. I love and appreciate you for that.
And he gives up a lot of time. I mean, we're talking about what is he willing to give up? I mean, when he gets on this plane, I mean, this morning he was looking at giving up a whole day.
Yeah.
Because they were saying it may be tomorrow before you get out of here, because nobody knew till they could reboot and figure out what all they were going to do. Nobody had a clue what was going on. And so he had to prep not to be home today. And then all of a sudden it came across that they were leaving. But he's willing to do that for his clients. You and I have to do the same thing for the people that we coach or that we talk to. We have to be willing to do it. You and I give up 15 to 30 minutes a week for this, maybe just to get that one little thing out to the person that needs it that particular day. And I've had a few people contact me after we've had this and said, you were talking about me today. I know you were.
Yeah. Well, and people don't understand. I mean, you may get frustrated. Okay, I'm delayed and I'm not leaving on time or whatever, but think of the good things. You're safe. You're fine. You're not in midair when things are going down. I mean,
in there when they can't land the plane.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, there's so many different scenarios on everything. And when you realize that you do the best you can, and the rest is up to how it's going to fall, and giving up, are you willing to give up about stop bitching about something and just let things be the way they need to be? I mean, that's not a bad thing at all, because when you save yourself the energy, the negative energy, and wait to say, okay, so what's going to happen next? Everything's not everything is not in stone, where life is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. And that's the better way to live life. I mean, if you know every minute of every day of what's going on, that doesn't challenge you. That doesn't get you out to grow. So I think it's a good thing when you start, questioning things and appreciating things. And I mean, I guarantee once he was able to get on the plane and stuff, you're very grateful that the system is rebooted. And I know at the hotel, my computer will get slow and I'll be like, what's going on? And, just reboot the damn thing. And it always works so much better. And so
that's not a major word, just reboot. That's somebody has a problem, just reboot it.
Well, it's funny. Last night on the show, I was having a problem with my mouse, and I went and changed the batteries, but it was still not working right. And I would have never thought this, but at the end of the show, one of the guests, Barry, says, "Lynn, have you turned your mouse on and off to like reboot that?" And I'm like, "Well, shit, I didn't think of doing that." And sure enough, it's been working fine ever since. But everything's just a little reboot. Just let it be.
Just do it and get it over with. The thing is, and especially the internet, The static that builds up literally around your modem, um, it prevents you from doing stuff. So just go in there every couple of days and reboot it. It takes 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Instead of bitching for 8 hours because your computer's not working right.
Tell me you've never had to call the internet company because your damn thing isn't working. And nothing would tick me off more than they'd say, okay, unplug it. I've done that 10 times. Well, we're going to unplug it again, and they unplug it. You replug it back and it works. Granted, they did put a switch or something to redo your system. Who knows? But it does. It is funny. So I have learned to always unplug it for a long time, replug it back. And then if it doesn't work, then you need to call in. But I saved myself from the aggravation of being online and holding for a half an hour a long time ago. And that was
Believe me, I have tried everything short of throwing it, okay, before I'll call a technician. I hate going through the process. So if you see me online with a tech, you can know Sheryl has done everything that she physically can do.
Yep.
To me, that's the biggest waste of time sitting waiting on the tech unless you have to have it. But we're all living our lives at such a fast pace. I'm glad to have grown up in the country because I know what slowing your pace down is. But I look at a lot of, I'm going to call city folk, for lack of a better, the city folk or the younger kids. They don't know what slow paced is anymore. And everything's got to be done right now. I mean, I look at the computer now. I grew up on dial up.
You know when you email me, you're emailing Lynn Sir at AOL.
Yeah, same thing. But I got rid of my AOL one, but I did have one. And, I have got myself so used, especially to the speed on the internet. And then we're running as high as you can get in our area because Jerry and I are running actually 2 lines in here.
Right.
So we can have full grasp of them. And it still doesn't run fast enough for Sheryl. But even though I did come up on the old system, but that's where my speed comes in. I'm impatient, extremely. But as far as the day-to-day stuff, I really try to realize crap goes wrong, and it goes wrong at the one time you don't want it to.
Yeah.
So I try. I'm not good at it, but I'm working. I'm a work in progress. I try to add extra time in. I mean, even for my interviews, I always add 15 to 20 minutes extra between them in case one goes over or the computer decides to go stupid. And I'm pretty good with it happening, but there are days when it still screws up.
Yeah. So it definitely is we just forget there's so much out of our control. And so what are you willing to give up? Mostly, like for your health too. I mean, getting upset of something that you can't do nothing about is not worth it because then that dopamine comes in and for 20 minutes you're just useless anyways. You might as well put a clock to it. You're just so dummied up it's not messed up. So besides it ages you. What who wants to
I'm so young, look.
That's right. You just say stick it. I'll just take a 20-minute break and I'll be right back.
I don't know, but I watch people stress all the time. I mean, you and I would be out of business.
Yeah.
Terrible to say if people didn't get stressed out.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well,
that's why we stay in business. But I watch these people become sick. They're always agitated. They end up with heart trouble. I mean, it's a ticker down. And so I refuse to let someone else give me a heart attack.
there you go. There you go. So, well, any final words? I mean, we still got a few minutes here, but I mean, in closing all of that, I personally, I think it's an amazing thing when you realize how silly we act for things that will change in just a few minutes. You got to have the patience and wait a little bit. Granted, I know Jerry was already thinking I'm gonna have to drive across country. And
the dogs were there.
yeah, and he already had people saying they'll open their doors for him. So,
Yeah.
I would have put him up here in Montana, and then he could have stopped at Theodore's another 8 hours, and then Yeah, and then I could have got him to Tammy Storm. I could have got him in a few different places to have people to visit with. But again, you need to be prepared for other alternatives. But at first, sometimes it's just like, take a break for that minute, take a break, a pause, a prayer, and, things can change.
I've driven many times from California. It's a long ride. Okay.
I know you wouldn't want to greet him by the time he came home. He'd be a bear.
I did it every week for a while.
Oh.
So it's a long drive. But the thing about it, are you willing to give up? We can use that, Lynn, while we've got a few seconds. Are you willing to give up? Because he'd be single driving. He couldn't drive 24 hours like we did.
Right.
Are you willing to give up 5 days to get home as opposed to waiting a day?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's always what you're willing to give up. And
right.
So he loves driving, so that probably would not bother him that much till about the third day. It gets real
yeah.
But just in anything else, what are you willing to give up to get what you want?
Yeah.
If it's money, give up the money and buy the product. If it's time, remember, you can't get your time back.
Right.
So do your pros and cons, see where you want to be, and decide what you're willing to give up.
Yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Well, Sheryl, I love you very much.
Same here.
And thank you for being here as always. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you.
Okay.
And you have a good day. Stay warm.
Yes, I will. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're like a